Brother hit on my girlfriend at Christmas. I cut him off, but my parents took his side instead. For as long as I can remember, my relationship with my younger brother Kevin, now 26, has been rocky. Growing up, we rarely got along, and by the time we were teenagers, we outright hated each other. As adults, moving out offered some relief, and we managed to be civil, though the underlying resentment remained. That fragile peace shattered 3 years ago during our parents' Christmas party. At the time, I was 30 and deeply in love with my girlfriend of nearly 4 years, Bella. I had decided to propose that night in front of our families to make the occasion even more special. Bella's parents were invited, and everyone knew how serious we were about each other. Everyone except Kevin, it seemed, cared. While I was talking with relatives, Kevin pulled Bella aside and tried to convince her to leave me for him. Bella immediately told me, disgusted by his behavior. Furious, I confronted Kevin in front of everyone. Instead of showing remorse, he argued that Bella deserves someone better, someone like him. The confrontation quickly escalated, almost turning physical. Family members had to step in to separate us. That night marked the end of whatever relationship we had. I informed my parents that if Kevin was part of any family gathering, Bella and I wouldn't attend. To their credit, they initially supported me, cutting Kevin off after witnessing his behavior. For the next 3 years, life went on peacefully. Bella and I married, and we avoided Kevin entirely. Then, a few months ago, my parents dropped a bombshell. Kevin had reached out, apologized to them and other relatives, and claimed to have changed. Yet, he hadn't apologized to the two people he wronged most, Bella and me. My parents chose to forgive him, inviting him to their 35th anniversary party. I discovered this by accident while managing the guest list. When I confronted them, they dismissed my concerns, insisting it was time to move on. I reminded them of my stance: if Kevin attended, Bella and I wouldn't. Their response shocked me. They accused me of being unreasonable and said they'd rather have their better son at the party since Kevin had been attentive and kind to them in recent months. Hurt and angry, Bella and I skipped the event. We decided to cut off contact with my parents until they acknowledged their mistake. Just days after the party, karma came knocking. My parents called me in a panic. Important documents from my father's home office had gone missing. These included financial records, business strategies, and client contacts. Suspicion quickly fell on Kevin. They told me he had left a business card on the desk, a deliberate taunt. They begged me for help, knowing I work in cybersecurity. But their betrayal was still fresh, and I refused. My mother tried to guilt-trip me, claiming I was abandoning them in their hour of need. She even sent a voice note, crying and saying she felt like both her sons had deserted her. But I stood firm, reminding them that their actions had consequences. Later, my parents emailed me the full story. Kevin wasn't working for their competitor, as they initially feared. Instead, he confessed to stealing the documents and demanded a ransom to return them. If they refused, he threatened to sell the information. Faced with no alternative, my parents paid him. They hired lawyers to ensure Kevin couldn't use the data against them in the future. In their email, my parents apologized for their behavior and admitted they had been wrong to trust Kevin. They acknowledged that they had disrespected Bella and me, prioritizing Kevin over us. 10 months passed without contact. Then, Bella and I announced on social media that we were expecting our first child. My parents reached out, expressing their desire to reconcile before the baby's birth. After much discussion, Bella and I decided to give them a chance. We agreed it was important for our child to have grandparents, provided my parents proved they had changed. They apologized directly to Bella, acknowledging how Kevin's behavior had made her feel and admitting their mistake and forgiving him too easily. Moving forward, Kevin is now out of everyone's lives, and I am focused on the future. Bella and I are preparing for parenthood, thrilled about the new chapter ahead. Though I remain cautious, I'm optimistic about rebuilding a healthier relationship with my parents. For now, our priority is our growing family and the joy of welcoming a new life into the world.